there YouTube, my name is Janaki, and over here we have Madame Bathsheba, and together we are Catomancy Tarot. This is actually the last video you're gonna see Bathsheba in for a little while because I'm about to go on a 2.5-month research trip to India. So I'm leaving in a couple days, and I thought I would do one last video before I go. And in this video, I wanted to share with you some of the decks I'm planning to bring with me. I know some other folks have done tags like only 10 decks for Lent. I'm going to be gone a little bit longer than the usual like Lent period, but I thought I would, it would be a good opportunity to kind of like try out this idea, set a hard limit for what I can bring. It seems kind of weird that like one of my biggest packing considerations in leaving home for a couple months is like obsessing over, which decks do I want to bring with me? Like it's a little bit of a summer vibe check, like planning out which summer decks I want to use, which of the new ones, which old ones. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And I also wanted to give you guys this opportunity to, if you have any questions about what I'm going to be up to this summer in India, I'd like to sort of invite you to leave some questions in the comments below, or I'm also going to leave a link in the description that you can also submit your questions. So my 2-month trip to India this summer, during this time, I'm going to be reaching out to different tarot readers in the Mumbai area, and I'm going to be interviewing and observing and sort of hanging out with tarot readers in order to kind of understand the way in which tarot is practiced in India. And so there are some, a few differences for those of you who are, familiar with Vedic astrology. And the differences between sidereal and tropical, there's a lot of differences, and there's also some like cultural differences in the different ways people approach astrologers. In India, for example, like astrology is really crucial in sort of finding marriage pairs and arranged marriages and love marriages both. And not that that isn't, people don't seek out astrology for relationships in the US as well, but it's just kind of a little bit of a difference. So if you have questions about things you would like me to ask or things you're curious about, feel free to drop those below. And over the summer, I'm probably going to do a couple videos touching base. I'm going to do some more videos continuing my community engaged tarot series, but I'll probably be uploading things less frequently this summer. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this around, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk you through the decks I'm thinking about taking with me. All right. So I thought I would go ahead and talk you through a little bit of my process. So starting with some kind of like must-haves, I guess. So I knew I wanted to bring, you got to have a RWS and you got to have a Marseille. So for me, my favorite Marseille deck that I'm bringing with me is my Piatnik. This is my all-time favorite TDM, and I just love the color scheme and the sort of the woodblock style. I think it's got the best and silliest faces. The Judgment with the, raining down blood, whatever. I have to show you, it's got my all-time favorite. We've got the Emperor with the little kissy face he's making. We've also got, let's find him. We're looking for the Hermit. It's got the best Hermit, I promise. There's Death with his little red underwear and his little hat. Super cute. Here we go. My favorite Hermit. He just looks like hunched over, and he's got his little scarf tied around his neck. He looks like someone woke him up in the night and he had to put on his robe, and he's got a kind of grumpy old man comes to the door. I love them. I love them so much. So this was like easy choice, no brainer. Gotta have this one. And then when it came to the Marseille, when it came to Rider-Waite-Smith, I have 3 different versions of it, but the version I've been reaching for the most is the Golden Rider, which is a new acquisition. It's one I've had my eye out for years, and only in the past couple months have I acquired and was able to like find this copy. And so my conundrum here is like, this is the only Rider-Waite-Smith deck I ever want to work with. But it is one day, you know, it's one that I won't really be able to easily replace. And so I was like, should I bring like my little, I have a little pocket one. It's travel size. It's already kind of beat up, but like, I don't know. It hasn't been like, I don't connect with it in the same way. And so I think this is the one I want to take with me. And there's a couple decks that I have this conundrum with where I know when a lot of people travel, they bring only decks that they would feel okay if they lost or if something happened to them. But I travel, I travel quite a lot for research and for work. And so if they're my decks, they've got to kind of like, I don't know, keep up with me. They gotta fit in. So like all of my decks, they gotta be travelers too, man. So I'm just gonna, you know, and it's also like I'm not like backpacking around or anything like that. Like I'm arriving and I'm you know, living in one place for 2.5 months. So I think they can manage. So those are my two for surezies. And then it gets like, oh boy, what's next? And so I was thinking, you know, it's going to be summer. India's a really colorful place, so maybe I need some really colorful decks. So I showed this combination in my favorite pairings. And so I was thinking about bringing these guys, the Yoginis Oracle and the Zigeuner Tarot, because they're bright and summery. They've got all of these nice colors. They go really well together. That's another consideration, is like if I'm bringing a couple decks with me, like I would like them to all kind of be able to work together, like creating a little mini ecosystem of, you know, decks that get along. I'm probably like vastly overthinking this, but I have a lot of anxiety around travel, and so this feels like one way I can like control that is to like fixate on this, you know, conundrum of what I should bring with me. But I'm not sure. I think maybe I'm gonna pass on these guys, mostly because this is a really, like, it's a really big deck. I wouldn't take the box, but like the deck and the book are like, they're chonky. It's a chonky one. And so this is a deck that like also reminds me to breathe. Like the guidebook has little sadhanas or practices, and a lot of them revolve around breath work. So while that would be nice, I'm just not sure about these two. And yeah, in that vein, thinking about like wanting something really colorful, when I think of like colorful decks, I think of this one by Calhoun, Tarot is Color. And this deck is like, it's another really big one. It's really big. It's like, it has a weight to it, which is like it feels and looks incredible. And like I was thinking about needing to have a deck that, you know, if I'm like going down an existential wormhole, like this deck has got me. This is like a powerful deck, like it's a heavy hitter. It's one that's like really, really magical, but I don't think it's I don't think it's travel friendly, which is really really a shame. Because, you know, it feels really colorful. It feels like exactly the kind of thing I want, but it feels a little bit too much to pack. So then I'm like back to my drawing board thinking about colorful decks. And then I just got this new deck in the mail. This is an Oracle deck. It's the Pixie Oracle by Mary Evans. And so I've been like really into using it recently. It's my first circle deck. I had like circle decks of cards that I used when I was a kid. So I think they're really fun. And so I have a couple of her other Oracle decks, and this one feels really lightweight in comparison. And I mean that both like sort of thematically as well as like physically. Like it's not as, I don't feel like it has as much depth, you know, with things like lucky or heart maze, exploration. I don't know, some of the keywords, ripe fruits. It still has a lot of your like typical sort of like keywords you might find in an Oracle deck, but it just feels, I was thinking about it, and this feels like, this deck feels like a teenager slumber party. Like it feels like that kind of just like, like super girly. It's you know, it's nothing too, you know, it's just like glitter and sparkles and like giggling and staying up late, and like, yeah, it just gives me like preteen slumber party vibes. And it's really colorful, and like, I don't know, sometimes I'm someone who can like everything sort of feels like kind of like life or death. And like I can like blow things out of proportion. So to have this like really lighthearted kind of fun deck is sort of really appealing to me. And I've been using it for my like Gemini season daily draws with the Careful Tarot. And I think they just like, they pair really well together. And they're just, I don't know, there's something about this combination right now that like, it's really working for me. It's been really fun. It's really cute. Yeah, so I'm having fun with this. So I think I want to take these with me. This deck has been through the ringer with me before, so like I know it can hold up to traveling. And this deck is like small enough that I think it'll also do well traveling. So I think these guys made the cut. These guys are in. So we're up to 4. And we'll keep them right over here. All right. So the next deck I'm thinking about bringing with me is the Ritual Tarot by Tira May. This is my newest collage deck that I'm still getting to know. Last time I was in India, I was there for 7 months, and I took the Spolia along with the Road to Nowhere Oracle, but this time I thought this is also a chance for me to like get to know some decks a little bit better, and this is the one that I'm currently getting to know. And I think it'll really hit the spot for me this summer. And it's a deck that I was definitely a little bit of a out of nowhere splurge, because I just fell for it so hard as soon as I saw it. So this is one that's I think is making the cut. And I think the other deck that I'm thinking of taking along with me, there's a couple that I think will work really well with this one because again, I'm someone who likes to mix decks a lot, and so it's important for me that my decks that I'm taking are gonna work together. So I think I'm gonna take the this is my copy of the Tantric Dakini Oracle that I modded recently. And now that they're both sort of borderless, I think they work really well together. So I think they'll both sort of work in this little network of decks that I've got going here. Cosmic Carrot. Yeah, I love it. I think it works well. And I think it also I love using these as just like a little pop of levity. Let's see if we can make everybody fit in frame here. If we just, pop those on top. Ooh, little splash, little splash. I like it. I think it all works. They're all kind of in this sort of like collage mode. Yeah, I think they'll be fun. So that means we're adding this oracle with the Ritual Tarot, and then another deck that I think works really well with the Ritual Tarot is one that I also I had a hard time hemming and hawing about whether or not I should bring it, because it's another very recent acquisition that's also extremely special and important to me, and that's the Mysteries of the Black Madonna. So this deck is, as I mentioned recently, I only very recently was able to acquire a copy, and this was a deck that I had sort of given up hope that I would ever be able to own it, and then because it had gone out of print, but then she started selling some, Hetian started selling some copies with this printer's error factory seconds for a reduced price, and I jumped at the chance. And one of the things that I'm really not looking forward to this summer is I have the week or two right after I land, I'm gonna have my 30th birthday, and I'm not looking forward to it at all. I don't know how you guys feel about birthdays, but sometimes they can, I don't know, I can get really, really sort of reflective, introspective, and that can sometimes turn into a little bit of a downward spiral for me, especially considering how much isolation I've experienced sort of in this grad program after research can be really isolating. Grad school can be isolating. The pandemic was extremely isolating. And now I'm going to be going to a place I've never gone before, in a mega city where I don't know anybody. And I'm a little bit freaked out about it. So I feel like I bought this deck and sort of the Ritual Tarot and the this guy, the Golden Rider. I allowed myself to splurge on these 3 decks because I had a birthday coming up, and so these are kind of my birthday decks. And I'm not going to be buying decks for all summer, and so I felt like I saved up to have this little extra birthday splurge. And I don't have a lot of, like, I don't have people in my life who, you know, buy, buy decks for me, which is okay. Like, I'm happy doing it myself. But, so I just felt really sort of, like this would be a special year. So I think I've got to take them with me, even though they're all very special, and they're all kind of irreplaceable, which is a little nerve-wracking, but you know, I know how to travel well. I'm not super concerned, but that's my like. It also feels like this deck feels very protective. And so I feel like I need all the protection I can get this summer, especially because last time I was in India, I had a meltdown, like a total breakdown. And so this is my first time returning after that, and you know, completely different set of circumstances, like, you know, but last time I was there for March 2020, which was incidentally also the start of my Saturn return, which is wild. That was not subtle. Like, I felt that a lot. And so when I'm thinking about decks that I want to reach for in the middle of a mental health crisis, like I'm anticipating that I'm going to have one, which, you know, maybe that's how my anxiety works. Is just like I'm trying to plan ahead. I'm trying to like make sure I have something to kind of turn to if I'm all. And you know, I do have friends. I do have a network of support. Like, I do have a therapist. So you guys shouldn't like this isn't, you know, no need to really worry about me, but like planning out which decks to bring with me is part of my how I prepare for my own self-care. So I wanted to share some of that with you. So this is the Dirt Gems. It's a Plant Ally Oracle deck. And the guidebook for this, I find the guidebook to be like very trauma informed, and it's really well written, and sometimes, you know, I'll like it makes me tear up a little bit when I'm reading it. And so I felt like this. And it's a very colorful deck. It's got some summer whimsical vibes. So I think that'll work really well. So I think the dirt gems are gonna come along. And then, so that means I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tarot decks that are coming, and so far I've only showed you 3 oracle decks. So I figure if I have 5 tarot decks, I should maybe balance that out and with a couple more oracle decks. So the last 2 oracle decks I'm thinking of bringing this summer. One is new to me, and one is like an old friend kind of thing. So this is the Rekira Celestial Guidance Oracle. It was created by a medical intuitive in Australia, I believe. And I've really enjoyed working with these recently. They're just like, they're bright, and the like images are really intriguing. I like working with abstract decks. It's also got this color system. It's color coded for like different chakras. And so I feel like this is it's a good deck to do readings for other people, to get sort of like a read on the overall vibe. And I think this deck works really well with this one, which is the Living Altar Oracle. So let's see here. If we've got lay down a couple cards there. Yeah, I think it's really fun. I think that's great. and I think they'll go. I think they look like they're having fun together. And you know, if we add, you know, if we're trying to make sure that everyone I'm bringing gets along well, because that's important to me for some reason. Like if we throw these guys in the mix, I think that still works. I think these go really well together. I think if you want to pop a few of these guys, oof, pop. I think that's still really fun. Obviously things are getting a little bit messy here, but I'm just playing around. So yeah, for the last couple nights I've just been like pulling out decks and like trying to match things and like make sure everything goes together. And yeah, I think I've figured out a collection of decks that are all going to kind of look good together, be able to play along. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of bringing with me in terms of decks. I also feel like it's absolutely absurd that I'm thinking about bringing 10 decks with me on a trip. Like, that's definitely excessive. I could absolutely bring less decks with me. But I don't know. I'm feeling really tender with myself right now, and feeling like I can afford to bring like a big security blanket. Feeling like that's something that I would really benefit from this summer. In terms of books I'm bringing, so I'm obviously going to be bringing the guidebook for the Mysteries of the Black Madonna deck and the guidebook for Dirt Gems. They're both like very slim volumes, so I think I'm going to be bringing those. One of the decks that I thought about bringing with me this summer is the Sacred India Tarot, by Rohit Arya and James Adams. But this isn't a deck. I sort of acquired this deck specifically for research purposes, but it's not a deck that I use in my personal practice. And that's slightly because like I have a very specific relationship with Hinduism. I was raised as a Hare Krishna, and so those childhood memories are they're very special to me. There's Krishna and Arjuna in the chariot, which I love. But there's something that doesn't, those sort of childhood memories are kind of sacred, and I'm not ready to kind of, I don't know. It's something that's hard for me to kind of put words to, but it's not something that that's found its way into my current practice at all. But I do want to try and reach out to the author of this book. So I will be bringing, he wrote a guidebook, and so I'm going to be bringing the guidebook in the hopes that I get to track him down and interview him. So I'm going to be bringing that. And then I'm also going to be bringing this book, Words of Destiny, Practicing Astrology in North India, this is an Italian anthropologist. So this is an academic book. This isn't a book for learning how, this isn't a how-to book for a practitioner. It's an academic text. She did her fieldwork in Benares, also known as Varanasi. She did about 5 to 10 years of fieldwork among astrologers during the 90s. And so this book came out recently, and so only recently have there been full-length ethnographic texts written by anthropologists about astrology and how it's practiced in India. So this is a really good, as an academic, this is going to be one of my interlocutors. So I'm excited to bring this text along. So those, that's the stack of books I'll be bringing. And then lastly, I've also got this cute little bag that I've got a couple oils. So I've got from Primrose Apothecary in Portland. I've got a protection anointment oil. I picked up what is this? This is a self-love oil from House of Intuition. I picked it up the last time I was in LA. I've also got vetiver, which I like. I like the scent, and it's also, I've heard, good for anxiety. So they're going to be accompanying me. So all told, if we wrap everybody up, if we make stacks, so if we get everybody together, here's my stack this is my tarot stack. This here is my oracle stack. These are the 10 decks I'm going to be bringing. So it is a little bit chunky, but I'm going to be putting these in this sort of like padded bag that I will then put in my backpack. And they will be in my backpack, on my person, on the plane. So wish me luck with that. Also, airplane tip. I've noticed that if I'm taking a bunch of decks through security and there's a bunch of them together, they get really confused about like how they show up on their like scanning. I don't know if anyone else has traveled with decks before and run into this. So I think keeping it in a backpack and not like tucked away in a suitcase will help with that inevitable stop through security. This I admit feels like really excessive to me. We'll see if as I'm actually packing, if they all actually make the final cut. As I said, I've been changing my mind a lot. We'll see also how things shake out with the rest of my packing. Despite what you see here, I'm a very efficient packer. So like I've got my packing down to like one duffel bag, a roll-on, and like a backpack. So like the rest of like I'm packing lightly for the rest of what I'm taking. So I felt like I could have one area where I overpack. Yep, I hope this was a interesting video for you guys. Again, as I mentioned before, feel free if you have any if you are curious about my research and you have any questions that you would like me to answer this summer, or any questions you'd like to ask, what it's like to be a tarot reader in Mumbai or anything along those lines, feel free to do so. I'll see you guys on the other side of the pond, and until then, bye for now.